I try to walk at least a few hours a week, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes I can't, fit that into my schedule, but I mean, this is just beautiful. Some of these trees through this particular part of Virginia that I live in are just so beautiful. And the smells right now, you guys, there's a huge, for the next like 100 yards, it's just all honeysuckle. These bushes through here, I've shown you guys that in previous videos, but the smell of honeysuckle reminds me of my childhood. Nature just has so much beauty in it. These trees are absolutely stunning. These assholes, actually, a few videos back, you guys, I made a comment about a particular tree, one of my favorite trees in this neighborhood that I live in. And about a week and a half after I posted that video, I was walking through this area and I noticed something was different, and it's like, what the hell? What is different? And they cut the tree down. And yeah, sure, the tree kind of was jutted out on this street, and I could see how potentially if lightning struck or some weird shit happened and it fell, it might hurt someone. But this tree was strong. They didn't need to do that. This tree is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to show you guys here in just a second. That tree right there, which they cut, which is really unfortunate. Look at these leaves here, ladies and gentlemen. See if I can get it from behind. Look at that. Trees are like the nerves of the earth. The light from the sun hits these trees, hits these leaves, and these leaves are like solar panels for the tree. These trees are actually siphoning in information from the world around them and feeding it down into its root structure and into the dirt, where there's actually messages being communicated. Underneath our feet, there is an entire lattice work of light and energy that is being fed into the dirt. So that's a highly complicated subject that I'm still learning a lot about. But these trees, these plants, these things that grow out here, the grass, everything is highly conscious. And it's due to our lack of understanding this that we don't really realize how precious life is. Everything is living. Right now, most people think that these trees and everything is just like these inanimate objects. You see, the lack of shamanism in the average individual's life has really separated his or her consciousness from understanding how everything is interconnected and how alive and breathing and just conscious everything is. We live in an omni field of consciousness. These leaves, these plants, these trees, these bugs, these insects, everything is so alive. And once you can start tapping into that understanding and letting it into your heart, it amplifies your energy and uplifts you in ways that is unspeakable. Through shamanism, ladies and gentlemen, we can begin to realize or rediscover just how conscious and alive everything is, and how sacred everything is, and how everything is consciousness. Everything is light being broken down into different frequencies. I mean, goddamn, look at, I don't know if I'm just different or what, but I could sit here and marvel at the light just coming in through those leaves for a good 15-20 minutes or longer. So anyways, folks, just a little philosophical rant. Going on my morning walk. Gonna go up to the grocery store and get some groceries. I need to get some pineapple juice for my soaked seeds. Definitely check that recipe out, ladies and gentlemen. I made a video, or I posted a video, it was like maybe 7 or 8 videos back in my archive about making a protein supplement, a plant-based protein supplement, soaked seeds. Mixing seeds together, kind of off subject, but we'll just touch upon this really quick. When you soak those seeds in the pineapple juice helps the seeds activate. They start to awaken just seeds being soaked in general, regardless of whether it's in water or pineapple juice, it begins to activate the germination process. And when you activate the germination process of a seed, you make it much more digestible. But when you mix there's magic in a number of 4. When you mix 4 different seeds together and you soak them, when you eat those seeds, there's a synergistic effect that takes place because you're getting different proteins and amino acids from a number of different sources. And that makes it a much more complete protein, whereas if you were to just consume chia seeds, you're going to get some nutrition from that. But if you mix it with pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and flax seeds like I like to do, that's my of my mixture that I like to use, you're getting a lot of nutrition from that, because you're getting nutrients from a broad spectrum of different sources, and that allows you to get complete nutrition. I like to consume those 4 raw proteins in the forms of seeds with a cooked protein. And I like to consume every day, I try to at least, I like to consume 4 raw vegetables with a cooked vegetable. This allows you to get the benefits of the raw food with the benefits of the cooked food. And this is kind of if you read Dr. Jack Tipp's book, the Provita Plan, this is basically the system that he lays out. It's called the 5+5 meal system, and Doc Wheelwright, Stuart Wheelwright pioneered this. You're basically consuming 1 cooked protein with 4 raw proteins, and you're consuming 1 cooked vegetable with 4 raw vegetables. He was a huge proponent, and so is Jack Tips, the author of the Provita Plan, he was a huge believer in the power of raw vegetables. The protein level in what I like to consume 4, I grow my own sprouts. So in the morning, right now, I'm going back on his system, and I'm eating early in the morning, and I'll explain why in the near future. But I was a huge proponent of intermittent fasting in the past, and I still am, but I've gotten enough out of it to the point where now I don't need it anymore. I don't feel that, at least for the time being. So I'm doing the Provita Plan meal plan again. Something it's an amazing plan. I've done this in the past, and even when I was intermittent fasting, I was still adopting and using that system heavily, but I had the timing off because I wanted to eat at the end of the day instead of at the beginning of the day. So right now I'm actually intermittent fasting in a reverse kind of manner, where I'm eating breakfast. I'm eating in traditional Chinese medicine, ladies and gentlemen, there's something known as the organ clock. There's 12 main meridians within the system, and they've broken down the 24-hour period of the day and into manageable units. So for instance, between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., that's the hour of the stomach, and I believe from 5 to 7 is the hour, or the period, excuse me, of the large intestine. So what Dr. Jack Tips recommends, I believe he recommends this in that book. Again, I'd have to go back and read it, but he recommends eating breakfast, eating 60 to 65% of your nutrition for breakfast within the hour of the stomach, because that's when your gastric juices and everything's primed for nutrition. And he has you consume these vegetables, and you're getting raw protein. So aside from that, I talk more about that on my Patreon page. I don't want to rant too much, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to touch upon that. The 5+5 meal plan allows you to get a broad spectrum of nutrition from different sources, and because of that, you're getting complete nutrition. When you mix 4 raw vegetables with a cooked vegetable, you are getting so many different amino acids, you're getting so many different vitamins and minerals and enzymes, especially if you do what I do, and I consume the raw sprouts. I grow my own vegetables. I don't really like to buy store-bought produce when I don't have to. So I'm consuming sunflower sprouts and clover sprouts and fenugreek sprouts and radish sprouts. Those are my 4 cooked vegetables, for instance, on one day. My 4 raw vegetables. It's also a protein source, but we'll touch more upon that in the near future. Sprouts, ladies and gentlemen, are a completely different tier of nutrition because they are living foods. They're not just raw foods. Raw foods are like when you go to the store and you buy jalapenos or you buy apples. Sure, they haven't been cooked, and because of that, they're considered raw. But living foods, ladies and gentlemen, for instance, would be if you had an apple tree and you could actually go up to that apple tree and pull the apple directly off the tree and consume it within seconds after picking it. But, excuse me. Living food is when it's still vibrating. It's still, it's still plugged into its source, metaphorically speaking. So when I eat sprouts, I go into the kitchen and I grab them from the, thought I saw a chemtrail in the back. They're still growing, is what I'm getting at. And because of that, they still have massive amounts of enzymes. They have massive amounts of living nutrition in them. Enzymes, ladies and gentlemen, in layman's terms, are the living messengers. They're the living components within these foods. Living foods are things like if you make your own kombucha, those cultures, it's a living food. It's still alive. You're not picking it and letting it sit for weeks or months. Like some of these apples and tomatoes in the store, they're weeks old. So that's a raw food, but it's not living anymore because it's been separated from its source or its mother plant for so long, or its tree, that it doesn't have the massive amount of enzymes in it anymore. And that's why sprouts are so beneficial, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to be doing in the near future what I eat in a day videos. But again, I'm following the 5+5 meal plan with some kind of altered intermittent fasting in there. I said earlier that I wasn't intermittent fasting, but I actually am. I just kind of worded that wrong. I'm reverse intermittent fasting, where I'm eating the majority of my calories in the morning, and then I'm tapering off and then having my last meal at a particular time in the afternoon, and then I don't eat until morning again. So the 5+5 meal plan allows you to tap into the biorhythms of your body's chemistry, where you're consuming the majority of protein in the morning, and then towards the end of the night you're consuming primarily carbohydrates. And it's not like you're eating tons of carbs, it's a moderate amount, but this way of living just feels so good. And again, I've been doing this for a long time, just kind of in my own way, where I've been experimenting. For the last few years, I've been consuming the majority of my calories at night and fasting throughout the day, but I'm changing things up. That was largely, ladies and gentlemen, due to the fact that I was an insomniac for so long, where when I was eating at night, it was basically my morning. So in a sense, I'm doing a very similar thing, just my schedule's so much better now. I get up at 5 in the morning. I've got my, for the longest time, the only thing missing from my health game, the only piece to the puzzle that was missing was bad sleep. My sleep schedule wasn't legit. You have to excuse me, this hill may not look very steep, but there's quite a bit of an incline on it. There's a mimosa tree over there, absolutely beautiful. But anyways, you guys, I'm a huge fan of raw foods. I'm a huge fan of eating vegetables and fruits and things in their raw state, especially if you have access to living foods. Again, living foods are foods that are either still connected to their source right before you consume them, or they've only been separated from their source for a short amount of time. So because sprouts are in their infant stage, they're producing massive amounts of enzymes, and they're constantly growing. They don't actually need to be in the soil for them to be highly active and highly beneficial. They're growing. My sprouts, I don't grow my sprouts in soil. Even my sunflower sprouts, which are high in protein, amazing food, folks. So, but now the amount of enzymes in raw living foods, this is how you nourish the Kundalini energy, ladies and gentlemen. A sproutarian-based diet where you're getting a majority of your calories from sprouts, if your body can tolerate that, because everyone's different, you can have some massive changes. At least I have in my mental clarity. Ever since I started consuming sprouts years ago, I consume a lot of sprouts. And the amount of light in sprouts, the amount of enzymes, the amount of living protein, beneficial fibers, very, very beneficial, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful day. Get out there, get some exercise. Walking is one of the greatest forms of exercise. It supports the entire musculoskeletal system. It's not hard on your joints. It allows you to get out of your goddamn box of a house or whatever you live in and get out there and look at all the green. Right now, my photoreceptors are taking in information from the sun. It's reflecting light on all of this green. Green is a very balancing color. The creator of this dimension, one of its favorite colors is green. There's so much green everywhere. Green is very calming, it's nourishing, it's a color of healing, ladies and gentlemen. Nature is filled full of green, and especially green. So by getting out there, I like to come out here. What I'm doing right now, I'll take my sandals off. I'll put my hand on this tree right here and look straight ahead of me with my eyes open and let the sunlight come into my photoreceptors. This is a healthy, safe way of sun gazing. I don't recommend it. I'm just telling you what I do. Sunlight is very beneficial. What the hell? Most of us are exposed to more artificial light than natural light, ladies and gentlemen. Sunlight has the UVB, it's got the UV spectrum, it's got the radiation, it's good for our bones. When the sun hits our skin starts to synthesize or create vitamin D, which is a hormone that regulates a large percentage of our genome. We need to get outside more. I'm not saying that we need to wear loincloths and just hang out outside all day, but I mean, come on. Nature is waiting for you to participate in it. Nature is highly conscious. Through shamanism and the rediscovery of shamanism, which is taking place, we will begin to realize just how alive everything is and how foolish we've been to think that we're just designed to live here and, you know, work the majority of our lives and get taxed up the ass and not really have any freedom or spiritual understanding. Life is about gnosis. Gnosis means to uncover the truth. It means to elevate consciousness. People ask me all the time, Brandon, what is the meaning of life in your opinion? To me, the meaning of life is to merge with the source, to merge with the divine, because through that we unlock all understanding and we realize our purpose. The meaning of life is not survival and reproduction, ladies and gentlemen. It's not this root chakra based thing. Survival and reproduction, we've already got to that point. Merging with the divine through Kundalini, the awakening of the dormant aspects of our physiology, the awakening of the psychic centers allows us to, we're designed to be demigods, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to wrap this one up. On behalf of your health, on behalf of you attaining more of your power, on behalf of you becoming a much more radiant, compassionate, loving individual, peace be with you all.